I was told never to talk to Senator Grassley unless he talked to me first.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
You are a eminently qualified nominee for the First Circuit Court of Appeals, and I'll be pleased to support you. I noticed that you began in the United States Attorney's Office on the civil side, and then you moved to the criminal side. Do you think you have the kind of experience that will be necessary for you to sit on civil cases? Most of your experience is criminal.
So an interesting part of the process to get to be sitting at this table is to really look at your career in sort of a bigger way that you don't do every day. So I had 3 years at a large law firm in Boston. That was all civil. I had 3 years in the United States Attorney's Office doing employment, medical malpractice, administrative law. For Judge Howard, I would say it was 60% civil at least. And for Justice Cowan on the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court, it was all civil. She actually handled the criminal work, and her law clerks spent our time on the civil work. So when I added it all up, it was mostly half and half. And I'd also say to you, I have a broad interest in the law. So while my 9 to 5 is criminal law mostly, I read a lot, I listen to a lot, I think about the law generally a lot, and so it's my interest, it's my passion, and so I do think I will be able to deal with both sides of the so-called legal house, I think, well.
I think the record should note that your wife was nodding in the background when you were referring to reading a lot.
Yes. I listen to some podcasts, legal podcasts, and legal Supreme Court arguments when making dinner sometimes. My children and my wife don't love that, but, you know, it is what it is.
We won't go too deeply into
well.
that area. Let me ask you about law clerks. You'll have 2 or 3 of them. You served as a law clerk to two very able judges. In terms of picking your own law clerks, will you look to diversity as a qualification or a criterion?
Yes. So I think diversity is important in 2 ways. One is you want to give opportunities to people of all different kinds of backgrounds and all different sort of vectors of ways of people. It also helps the chambers. You want to have interesting dynamic discussions, and people with different experiences bring that. So you want to find all different sorts of people, which I think puts an onus on the judge to go out and talk to different law schools, different communities within the law schools. And I'll say one other thing that I think, that I learned this at the First Circuit Conference that was about a year ago. There was a diversity panel, and I attended the panel. And one of the judges said that you will eventually hire a law clerk that you didn't think was great. And you might be inclined to associate that lack of greatness, so to speak, with some attribute of the person. Don't do that, because that's what stops diversity, and it's to realize that it's not the characteristic. It's just that decision wasn't the best one, and just keep going. And I hadn't thought of it that way, but I thought that was an insightful remark. So I think it's both going out and finding all sorts of different people to work in your chambers, and then reminding yourself that, you know, to keep going. And that's what I would try to do.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Senator Blumenthal. Senator Blackburn?